story. The 2025 Nobel Peace Prize has been announced, and no, it is not US President Donald Trump who is the winner of the Peace Prize. In fact, it is the Venezuelan opposition leader María Corina Machado. She's been the beacon of the opposition struggle in Venezuela, leading the fight against the authoritarian regime of Nicolas Maduro for the last decade. She's currently in hiding in her country for the last almost year now. In fact, she had to withdraw from the elections last year. Another candidate was put up as the joint united opposition candidate. That candidate lost to Maduro in a set of elections that were deeply contested. There were allegations that it was rigged and so on. The announcement of the Nobel Peace Prize to Ms. Machado comes at a time when the Trump administration is getting ready to bomb Venezuela because of the drug cartel boats that are coming from Venezuela through the South Caribbean Sea into the United States. This has been the Trump administration's policy. They've called these narco-terrorists and narco-terror drug lords. In fact, they've named even Nicolas Maduro as a narco-terrorist. So it's clear that the Trump administration wants to change the regime. But will it do so by active military involvement with the US military going in, or will they depend on people like Ms. Machado, who is the 2025 Nobel Peace winner, to try and build enough opposition in Venezuela to overthrow the regime of Nicolas Maduro? So here's why María Corina Machado was chosen as the 2025 Nobel Peace winner. Despite facing serious threats to her life and being forced into hiding over the last year under the authoritarian regime of Nicolas Maduro, María Machado has remained very much in Venezuela. She's not exiled herself to the United States or any other country. In fact, there are 8 million Venezuelans who have fled from that country and gone to the United States in the last many years. Machado is a key unifying figure in bringing together Venezuela's fragmented opposition, uniting them around the goal of free and fair elections. For over 2 decades now, she has advocated for judicial independence, human rights, and representative government. She was also honored with the 2024 Sakharov Prize by the European Parliament. And today, the Nobel Peace Committee, which is in Norway, announced that she is the winner of the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize.
They will never give me a Nobel Peace Prize. I deserve it, but they will never give it to me.
Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize, and he didn't even he said, "Why did I get it?" He had no idea. It was immediate as soon as he walked into office, practically. He didn't do anything. If you stop Russia and Ukraine, sir, you should be able to get the Nobel. I said, I stopped 7 wars.
Will you get the Nobel Prize? Absolutely not. They'll give it to some guy that didn't do a damn thing. They'll give it to a guy that wrote a book about the mind of Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has made no secret about his ambitions of winning the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize. After all, in less than 10 months in office, he claimed to have resolved multiple conflicts and is on the cusp of bringing an end to the grueling war in Gaza, an announcement which came days before the Peace Prize was to be announced.
Momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East.
But when the Norwegian Nobel Committee finally announced the winner, Trump's hopes were crushed.
The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace, to a woman who keeps the flame of democracy burning amidst a growing darkness. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to María Corina Machado. She is receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy.
58-year-old María Corina Machado is a key opposition leader in Venezuela. She ran as the Democratic opposition candidate in Venezuela's 2024 presidential election, but was disqualified by Maduro's government and went on to support the opposition's alternative candidate, Edmundo González Urrutia. While incumbent Maduro won the re-election, the opposition said the results were rigged. Protests erupted, demanding the release of election results by individual polling stations, and Maduro's government responded with a brutal crackdown on opposition protesters and leaders. The Nobel Committee said María Corina Machado has shown that the tools of democracy are also the tools of peace. She embodies the hope of a different future, one where the fundamental rights of citizens are protected and their voices are heard. Firstly, while Trump may claim to have resolved many wars, not many agree with him. In fact, not even all the nations that he claimed were involved in the conflict agree. Secondly, the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 recognizes work done in the year 2024, a year when Donald Trump had been elected but had not yet taken office. Nominations for this year's prize closed at the end of January, just after he returned to the White House. Thirdly, and perhaps the most important reason, could lie in what the Nobel Committee said about democracy while announcing the winner.
Ms. Machado has been a key unifying figure in a political opposition that was once deeply divided, an opposition that found common ground in the demand for free election and representative government. This is precisely what lies at the heart of democracy, our shared willingness to defend the principles of popular rule, even though we disagree. At a time when democracy is under threat, it is more important than ever to defend this common ground.
Trump and Machado share a common enemy, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Machado had been briefly detained and later forced into hiding for publicly challenging Maduro. Trump calls Maduro a fugitive of American justice and a drug cartel leader. People close to the American president, like Secretary of State Marco Rubio, have been urging him to remove Maduro forcibly from power. When the Trump administration doubled its reward for Maduro's capture to $50 million, Machado expressed her gratitude on behalf of all Venezuelans. So perhaps Machado will not earn Trump's ire as much as the world would expect. 4 of Trump's predecessors have won the award: Barack Obama in 2009, Jimmy Carter in 2002, Woodrow Wilson in 1919, and Theodore Roosevelt in 1906. All but Carter won the award while in office, with Obama named laureate less than 8 months after taking office, the same position that Trump is in now. In the months before the announcement, Trump had actively promoted himself as a global peacemaker. The leadership in Israel, Pakistan, Cambodia had all shared letters of support for Trump. The Nobel Committee prioritizes sustained multilateral efforts over quick diplomatic wins. Trump's efforts have not yet proven to be long-lasting. After all, the Gaza war has only been paused on paper, and Russia's war in Ukraine is still ongoing. Experts say his chances may be boosted in the future if the diplomatic initiatives lead to durable outcomes. Trump has also been seen as an aggressor. He bombed Iran, launched large-scale strikes on Yemen's Houthis, and ordered US forces to strike boats in the Caribbean. He has also threatened to annex Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. So can Donald Trump ever truly be the president of peace, as the White House puts it?
The Nobel Peace Prize this year seems primarily about the one who did not win it, which is a pity, because the winner is the very remarkable María Machado, leading the opposition from hiding within Venezuela, and that's against the government of President Maduro, who won what many believe was a rigged election in January of this year. And that ought to make her a natural ally of President Trump, who's been running his own fight against Maduro. The difficulty for Trump here is that a decision that was not him was, for that reason, a bad decision. But Trump really was always thought, outside of the White House, that is, an unlikely winner this time. For a start, it's still very early days in this whole Middle East peace process. A lot could still go wrong. The 1994 Peace Prize went to Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat, along with former Israeli Prime Ministers Yitzhak Rabin and Shimon Peres, and we saw how much peace that brought. Also, many of Trump's boasts about wars ended are contested between India and Pakistan, certainly. Whether it was him, Trump then led the peace moves between Congo and Rwanda in June of this year, but fighting continues. And then bombing a nuclear facility in Iran, bombing Venezuelan boats now with no confirmation still whether it indeed was narco-terrorists on board as claimed. Now, this is not quite the stuff of a CV for a Nobel Peace Award.